is David Lairmore. I'm one of the counselors from Counseling and Psychological Services. I've created this video today to bring some helpful information to students looking for support and guidance around understanding grief and loss. I think it's important to first point out what grief is. Many of you may have a sense of what grief is or understand what it feels like, but grief is a natural process that's painful, personal, and normal. Grief allows a person to come to terms with a significant loss and make sense of their new reality without a loved one or thing. Grief can typically occur the way most people understand it, from the death of a loved one. However, the feelings of grief can occur in other losses in our lives, which may feel particularly relevant right now, given the pandemic we are all living through. Other losses where we can experience grief is perhaps the loss of a job. That can include the loss of financial security. There can be a loss of sense of safety as well, given the changes to our day-to-day routines. Being able to go to the grocery store or order takeout food has changed for all of us. That loss of routine can also be a part of the grieving process. For many of our students and their families, there were various postponements or cancellations of important life events, such as graduations, proms, or weddings. Those events hold an emotional state for us because of their importance and significance. And when we weren't able to attend those or be a part of those events, we can feel grief and loss. And finally, grief can occur from a sense of fear with what the future could hold, the unknown. Many people's lives are in holding patterns because of the pandemic, which can create a sense of hopelessness. The most important piece of information that I want to share, and if you take anything else from this video, is that there is no one way to grieve. No correct way to grieve, no correct way to feel, experience, or act. It's often confusing that people will say or perceive onto others that they should be acting or feeling a certain way when grieving. That makes you feel like you aren't doing it right. Please know that we all have a very different process in grieving. Grieving is something anyone can experience. Grief is not always just sadness and crying. There can be physical symptoms, such as pain, agitation, tension, or fatigue. There can be a real physical toll to the body from such a loss. Emotionally, maybe you expect to feel sad or have depression. You can also feel shocked, have a sense of numbness, sense of guilt, even a sense of relief, anger, anxiety, or even a mix of different emotions. You may notice mental differences, such as having vivid dreams, maybe having your thoughts reflect on other losses in your life, or problems keeping up with motivation, focus, or attention. You could notice yourself pulling away from others if you're typically more social. You may even seek more support from others too, and become more caretaking. Right now, during these uncertain and challenging times, grief can feel extremely difficult. Here are some suggestions for coping with grief and loss. It can be easy to forget about taking care of ourselves. Just making sure we maintain a balance within our eating, sleep, and exercise patterns can be an important tool for managing our grief. Remember to be patient with yourself as well. Grief is a normal process, and there isn't an exact timeline for each person to process their grief. Be kind to yourself and give yourself time. Also remember that your feelings are valid. It can be helpful to write out your feelings to process them further. Reach out to others when you need support. It can be easy to isolate yourself or talk yourself out of seeking support when you need it the most. And if you find yourself still struggling with grief, consider seeking therapy. For students, you can always call CPS 24/7 at 740-593-1616 and talk to a counselor. You can also call to find out more about our services. Typically, CPS offers a grief and loss support group during the fall and spring semesters for students. Group is a great way to receive support from others who are going through a very similar experience. I hope you found this information helpful. Thank you always for watching and listening. Please continue to be on the lookout for more helpful information videos from CPS. Take care and stay well. Goodbye. Follow us on Twitter at Ohio_counseling.